Welcome to Wish We Were Then, the podcast that has been doomed to repeat history so that you, dear listener, may learn from it. We invite you tonight to a very special episode of the program. For your intrepid hosts, Mark and Trey, have, like always, been flung into the past. However, their friend Timeless Tony cannot retrieve them. They are stuck in the most devilish year imaginable. And the only way the two hosts may make it back to the present day and to their present day lives is if they can determine what is the scariest thing to happen in the year 1984. Oh man, I don't know if anybody else could hear that or if that was just for us.
I thought that was just in my head.
It was really loud in my head, but I noticed I couldn't hear it anywhere else outside of my head. And we're so like that scary voice said, we're trapped in 1984. We're recording this on some old tape recorders, so hopefully the sound quality's all right. But or happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween, everybody. And this is going to be a terrifying year, let me tell you. A lot of scary stuff goes on.
1984 truly was Satan's year, was it not? We got some... welcome to Wish We Were Then, everybody. That voice up at top told you a little bit about what the show is. We go back in time. Typically, we gather a bunch of information, bring it back to the present day, and relay it all to you. But this time we've been stuck. And we're trapped. We're terrified. You can hear it in our voices. So scared. I'm just out here shivering. But the 80s, quite an exciting time. It was a good year for Halloween, I think.
Yeah, there was some murder, deaths, some scary laws put into place. Scary for everybody who's 18, 19, or 20.
Yeah. Okay, let's hear that one, I guess. Let's just jump into some news stories and set the stage for a chilling year.
All right, well, it's 1984. It's your 18th birthday. It's October 31st. You were born on Halloween.
Okay, I'm liking this so far.
All you want to do is just have a beer.
Of course, yeah, that's the norm in this country.
Wouldn't like everybody, but you were born on October 31st. If you were born before July 17th of 1984, it would have been before Ronald Reagan signed the National Minimum Legal Drinking Act age, which was 21 and up.
Damn it, Reagan! Man,
it was a proposal written by Senator Frank Landenberg out of New Jersey. If a state did not participate, they would have had to had 10% of their federal highway funding cut.
Oh.
And all 50 states complied.
Yeah, that's funny to just put an incentive in there. I mean, like, normally, I don't really feel like you see that too often, where it's like, do this or else, man, you know? Like,
yeah, I think that's part of, like, just like the way that presidents do executive orders. They're like, hey, I'm going to do this executive order. If you don't listen, you're not going to get federal funding.
It's interesting that it is sort of still like, I mean, it's up to you. If you want to do it, you can. You know, you don't have to be participating in this, but if you're not, it's not going to be good, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
That's interesting.
Do you think that they would have, like, just gotten more money? Like, if they would have been the one state that didn't do it, just having the taxes from all of that, you think that would have just put that into the 10%? I don't know if that would have.
Yeah, 10% only, right? It wasn't like the full.
Yeah, it was 10%. 10%.
Yeah, I don't know. I could see that catching up.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's an interesting thought. It's weird that nobody did hold off, I guess. You think that somebody like Vegas or Louisiana, somewhere where there's a huge drinking scene, that they would have been like, fuck it, we're going to just keep doing this, you know?
Yeah. Atlantic City, places like that. Was that Georgia?
You think that somebody would. Man, that would have been a rough Halloween, a rough Christmas for all these kids going like, oh, I got to wait 3 years now?
Or you were 19 and you had been drinking for a year, and now you can't drink anymore. That would suck.
Do they make it so you could? I don't know.
I don't know. Actually, I didn't look that far into it, but I don't know why you would have been like maybe grandfathered in. I don't see that would have.
I wonder if that was the case. I don't think that would happen
because that didn't happen like that when they did
the cigarettes. That's what I was thinking of because I was already 21 when that happened. I was a smoker at the time, but I already
you were
was
not
past
allowed to do it.
I was past the age, so I was okay. But I couldn't remember if I was like, man, if I was 20 and I'd been smoking for 2 years and then you just tell me I can't anymore, like that's freaking riot territory. But nobody did.
Yeah, I mean that had to have been the case. I don't know.
We had a bunch of friends who were 18 at the time, so they must have been just, I don't know, having to get their older siblings to buy them cigarettes and stuff.
Yeah, us.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I did buy cigarettes for a number of youngsters. All right, let's move on before I incriminate myself any further. This one is a very dark news story, so I don't even know if I want to keep this one in, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it now anyway. On March 16th, Gary Plauché in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. His son was kidnapped and sexually assaulted by his karate teacher, who was named Jeffrey Doucette. The guy, they lived in Louisiana. He'd been taking karate lessons from this guy for like a year, and this had been going on, unbeknownst to the parents. Then Jeffrey Doucette kidnaps this kid and takes him to Anaheim, California, and keeps him in a motel for like a week. And then after like 2 weeks, actually, after a couple weeks, he allows him to call home. And then I don't know why you would do that. And then, the cops were alerted. They came, they found him. They bring back Jeffrey Doucette to Baton Rouge. As he's walking through the airport to, go stand trial for his crimes, Gary Plauché, the father, is hiding out with his back turned, wearing a baseball cap pulled down and some dark sunglasses, and he's pretending to be on the phone, or he is on the phone. He's on the phone with like his best friend, I guess, at the time. And as they walk Jeffrey Doucette behind him, as soon as he's directly behind him, Gary turns around, pow, pops him one, gives him a brand new set of ears, straight through, and just he drops him.
I've seen that video before. It's the rapist dad kills him, right? Because he's the rapist dad kills him, right?
It's the father of the child who was raped. Gary's son is the one who was raped, and Gary kills the rapist.
I thought it was the other way around. I thought it was the guy's dad kills him and is like, if I brought him in, I'm gonna take him out, kind of thing.
No, it was his son got kidnapped.
Oh, okay.
And when he found out about it, he took matters into his own hands. And basically he got a slap on the wrist because of this. He pleaded no contest to manslaughter as opposed to murder, and he received a 7-year suspended sentence with 5 years probation, and he served no jail time.
Damn.
Because the judge basically said he's not a danger to anybody. He's never going to commit this crime again. So basically, as long as this doesn't happen again, the world is safe from Gary Plauché.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, Jeffrey Doucette, evil man.
Vengeance.
Right. Dude, that's the crazy part, too, was the son, I guess, initially was kind of upset with his dad because he viewed Jeffrey Doucette as like a mentor and a friend.
Damn.
And it took him a while to like come to terms with what happened.
It's crazy.
Very dark news story.
Very dark. I got another dark one since we're talking about that. Marvin Gaye's father shot him in the midst of Marvin was breaking up a argument between his dad and his mom, and Marvin got his dad to go in his bedroom, and then later Marvin's dad came out and went into Marvin's bedroom and shot him with a .38 in the heart, point blank.
Oh man.
Yeah, and Marvin Gaye was pronounced dead on arrival.
Oh, geez, man, I never have heard that before.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That's how Marvin Gaye got shot.
Oh, man.
That's how he died.
That's terrible.
So, I don't know. I didn't look up too much of the backstory, but I'm sure he came from, an abusive father, family.
Yeah.
And then it's just got out of hand one day.
Ah, dang, that's so crazy, too. I mean, it's geez, dude, he's de-escalated the situation and put you in your room, and then you just can't leave it alone. That's awful.
Yeah.
Poor Marvin Gaye. God, what's going on?
Right? It's just, like I said, a lot of sad stuff going on this Halloween.
I got another. This one's very Halloween-esque. On June 19th, Ricky Casso and his friend Gary Lowers went with two other guys. They were a bunch of 17-year-olds. And they went into the woods to do what they thought was mescaline, but was more than likely LSD, as well as PCP. And while they were all high on drugs, Ricky murdered Gary Lawyers. He ended up stabbing him somewhere between 17 and 36 times, is what the reports say. They got into some sort of argument. Essentially, what had happened prior to this is that Gary had stolen 10 bags of PCP from Ricky. And then Ricky confronted him. Gary had already used up half of it, gave him back the other half, and was, had said he would pay him back at some point. So that was probably some of the, groundwork for what happened here. While he was stabbing him, he told Gary to say, "I love Satan." And Gary replied, "I love my mother." Because, he didn't want to do that. I mean, they're both high out of their minds,
That's insane.
And then in the aftermath, Ricky Casso bragged to his friends about the murder. He actually took some other teens into the woods to show them the body. And he had said that Satan manifested in the form of a black crow after killing him, and that the crow had cawed, something that he interpreted as Satan approving of the murder. It was this huge, case, this giant incident in the Satanic Panic of the 1980s. Which is where, parents were worried about, essentially, heavy metal was the main culprit, but also some other things, comic books and TV shows and stuff. They were just really worried about the devil still in the 1980s. It was this huge... The 70s also kind of was where it woke up, but this was in the throes of it. So they used the fact that he was wearing an AC/DC shirt at the time of the murder, and, he listened to Black Sabbath and stuff like that to say, this is... the influence of the devil in our music,
Man, that's crazy. I had no idea, because I just knew that there was a sentiment of Satanism behind metal, but I didn't know why or where it came from. So this is like a big driving force and probably a huge anti-drug establishment kind of story, as well.
Yeah, it's really good for Reagan's war on drugs.
DARE was going on and stuff right now.
Man, I think the heavy metal aspect of it, I mean, they sang about that kind of stuff. I mean, you listen to Black Sabbath, and they talk about the devil a lot. They also talk about the opposite side. They just like that imagery. I mean, Led Zeppelin, they have a lot of, things that are pulled pretty directly from Scripture and stuff like that. So there was just a lot of that religious imagery that they liked. And, it's interesting. I wonder why that is such a specifically heavy metal. It's like you talk about the devil and you talk about God and angels and stuff like that, or it's either that or medieval stuff. A lot of the time,
Yeah, that's true.
Holy Diver, stuff like that. So I wonder, it's funny that they don't just sing about love,
Yeah, no, I guess there's just a lot different feel to the music.
Maybe it's because Satan really does have a hand in it.
Speaking through them boys, I don't know. They need Jesus.
Yeah.
All right, well, I got another spooky headline. The SETI Institute. It was the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. It started on November 20th with 100 scientists. And
it started this year. Cool.
Yeah. So, it started with 100 scientists, and apparently it was kind of an early project of NASA, but then they didn't really do anything with it. So they NASA canceled the program. So in 1984, Thomas Pearson and Jill Tarter decided to get it as a nonprofit institute, and this is where it came from.
Interesting. That's cool. Actually, they pop up in one of the movies that I watched for this week. So it's kind of cool that was like a immediate thing that they just...
Was it the... what movie was it?
Starman.
Oh, no. It's not.
I rewatched that because we talked about that in our 1982 episode.
Oh, okay.
It was the one that Columbia Pictures chose over E.T. because they were a similar sort of story. Essentially,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
an alien comes down to
Mhm.
Earth, and then like somebody needs to travel him across the state to go get to some place where his ship is waiting to take him home or whatever. And so it's pretty much the same story, but it's an adult Jeff Bridges as opposed to a childlike shit pile alien.
Okay, cool.
John
didn't watch
Carpenter
it.
directed it. Yeah, I really like that movie, so I rewatched that. I had seen that one before. Well, talk movies later though. I have one more news story. It's not too Halloween-esque, so more of a fun one. You have any other spooky stuff?
No, I'm out of spooky stories.
All right, this is a fun, cool, interesting thing. Joseph Kittinger became the first person to make a solo flight across the Atlantic Ocean in a hot air balloon. And this guy was super impressive. So that's like, he just decided to fly across the ocean in this balloon.
How long did that take?
It only took 4 days.
I was gonna say I don't think it would take that long. 4 days
I was
shorter
surprised.
than what I expected it to be. I expected it to be longer than that.
I
But
thought it'd be like
didn't
a week
expect
at
it.
least.
Yeah, that's what somewhere around there, right?
I don't know. I could have thought I would have imagined 2 weeks, honestly. Like, I just imagined being in that balloon for forever. But 4 days is a long time to just be sitting in a little basket.
Yeah.
The flight left from Caribou, Maine on September 14th and was completed on the 18th. The balloon he went in was called Balloon of Peace. But this guy was super interesting, actually. He also, on top of being the first person to cross the Atlantic in a hot air balloon, he held the record for the highest skydive from 1960 to 2012.
When that guy jumped out of the stratosphere or whatever.
Yeah,
in the
and
Red Bull balloon.
actually,
Yeah.
Joseph Kittinger coached him. Like, he was in his ears on the way down.
Oh shit.
Yeah, he was like
crazy.
his coach because he was the only
So
guy who knew
what-
how to do this shit.
So what? How did he do it? Out of a hot air balloon? The
Yeah, I
highest
think
skydive?
so. I think so. Yeah, because he also was the first person to fully see the curvature of the Earth because he did a bunch of high altitude balloon tests in the 50s.
Mm.
So he, from like 1956 to 1960, he had been taking balloons as high as they could go, and he was the first person to fully witness the curvature of the Earth. And then while he was up there in 1960, I guess he decided to jump out. And he also, on top of all that, years later, between the balloon stuff and this flight, he was a fighter pilot in the Vietnam War. He shot down a MiG, also was shot down himself, and was a POW for 11 months. So this guy's just like, a movie character.
I was gonna say, didn't we talk about this guy when we did Top Gun?
Maybe. I know
Because
that we talked
wasn't
about
he
somebody who
part of
shot
Top
down a
Gun?
MiG.
Yeah.
I remember you saying that specifically. Let's see if he was a consultant on Top Gun. No, he was not.
Somebody was though. Oh well.
Yeah,
there's
somebody
only
else
a
who
couple
had
of
shot
people,
down,
and
yeah.
he's one of them. It's crazy.
Yeah, we've talked about 2 of the different people who've shot down those MiGs. So yeah, this guy was super impressive. I'm surprised that they haven't made a movie about him. It would seem just unbelievable if you were like, this guy flew
Yeah.
hot air balloons as high as
It'd
you
be
could
like
go,
Forrest
jumped
Gump.
out of
You'd
one.
be like,
Yeah,
right.
exactly. Yeah, he really is a real life Forrest Gump. He also invented the smiley face T-shirt and showed his ass to Richard Nixon. God damn, this guy's amazing. Or is it Gerald Ford? I've only seen that movie like once.
I think it was Ford. But anyway.
Well, you know what? It's not what our founding fathers would have wanted for this country. You know what they would have wanted? They would have wanted to have a delicious beer named after them, and that's what happened to our great founding father Samuel Adams in the year 1984 when the Boston Beer Company was founded. Jim Koch had found his great-great-grandfather's recipe for beer in his attic while he was cleaning one day. And so he took that recipe and decided to make a nice cold lager, and Samuel Adams was born.
Dang. Is it still made the same?
I think so. I think it's
'Cause
an
I
old
like-
family recipe, so.
Because I like that beer.
It's been a
Yeah,
while
it's
since
not-
I've had just a regular Boston lager.
I get them because I get the, like, I get
Oktoberfest?
the fall. Yeah, I get the fall packs
Yeah.
for Oktoberfest.
Their
and-
Oktoberfest are
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, so I end up drinking the regular one because I'm pretty sure it comes in that variety pack that I get. I get that every year.
I'm sure.
So
Yeah, it's been a while
I gotta
since
get,
I've had
I
just
gotta
a
get
straight
one of
Sam
those.
Adams.
I'm making burgers later
I
today.
know.
I'm gonna go get one of those variety packs. It's gonna be a good day.
Nice Halloween beer.
The pumpkin
nice-
beer.
Yeah, with that little orange fruit or vegetable. What is a pumpkin? A
Probably
gourd.
vegetable. Yeah.
Well, oranges are fruits, and they're on the front of cans sometimes, such as Slice Soda. That was founded in 1984. You remember Slice?
Yes. Is it?
They
I
were-
think it's still around, isn't it?
They got discontinued in the early 2000s, and
Oh,
now
sad day.
are Starry.
Oh, okay. I thought that was what Sierra Mist is.
So did I. Now that I'm reading what I just wrote down, I'm like, wait, I thought Starry was the Sierra Mist rebrand. So maybe they just got replaced by Sierra Mist or something like that.
Yeah. They're probably all owned by Coca-Cola anyway. Who knows? Speaking
Yeah,
of
I think
conglomerates.
I think Fanta. No, it's Fanta. That would be different.
Yeah.
Sierra Mist is maybe Pepsi or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the rebrand of Starry was it was kind of a lateral move because Starry feels like a ripoff of Sprite, you know.
Yeah.
But Sierra Mist is like that's like the name of a company from a TV show or something like that. You go, we changed both the names. Mountain, we changed to Sierra. Mist from Dew. Like it's Mountain Dew. It's just like the parody version of it. And I was
No,
like, for
this
years,
is in California, Trey. It's the Sierra Mountains.
it's the Sierra Mist.
That-
I just thought that was so
yeah.
funny. They got away with that, and nobody called them out on that for years. You know. It's just like when you watch a TV show and instead of having Apple computers, they have like a pear on the back of them or something like
Yeah.
that. You know. We're
Just
drinking
like a
Sierra
funny
Mist.
parody.
Yeah, I think that's hilarious. So, anyway, that's Slice Soda, though, not Sierra Mist. Slice was good. I loved orange soda when I was a kid. I haven't had one in a long time.
I like orange soda. It's not. Yeah, it's like a treat nowadays.
What's the best orange soda? Like when you
Cactus
were a kid.
Cooler.
Well, Cactus Cooler is great, but that's like pineapple
Pineapple.
and something else.
And orange. I think it's.
Yeah, I
both.
think so. It might just be like citrus fruit. You know, it's got like a
Yeah.
bunch of different things in there.
Yeah, that's true.
I liked Crush.
I would say Sun-Kissed.
I think I liked Slice, really. I can't remember what it tastes like. I remember each one of them had a different like level of... Whatever really had a lot of carbonation is what I liked. And I think that probably was either Fanta or Crush.
I like Sun-Kissed over Fanta. It's probably controversial, but...
No, Sunkist is good, too. Yeah, man, I just got to buy a bunch of orange sodas and beers, I guess, later today.
Maybe we'll do...
I'm going to be pissing all night.
I got two McDonald's ones.
Okay.
One is the McDLT, the McDonald's
Oh, yeah.
lettuce and tomato, and they would just, and then it would come in a styrofoam box, and you would
Mhm.
have the meat and the patty, or the patty and the cheese on one side, and then the other side would be the lettuce and tomato. So it would be like one's hot and one's cold, and then you would open it up and put it together and make it yourself, like put it together yourself.
Yeah, I guess when you're driving home and like you get back to your house and the lettuce is all wilty, that sucks.
Yeah,
But-
yeah, that was the marketing ploy. That I watched the commercials. It was funny. It was the George Costanza or whatever from
Oh, yeah?
Seinfeld.
That's Jason Alexander?
Yeah, these are like going through the streets and they're singing and they're like, "Keep the hot, and the cool." It's such a good commercial.
There were some good commercials this year. I watched some of them.
Another McDonald's one. It kind of bit them in the ass. So they would have a "if we win, you win," and what it was is the Summer Olympics happened this year in LA,
Oh.
and if they if the USA medaled, then they would give away like food, like burgers or fries or drinks.
Yeah.
But so many of like the communist country, like East Germany and the Soviet Union,
They
boycotted.
Yeah.
So the Americans won and ended up winning 174 medals because
Oh,
there wasn't as much competition. So I don't know, like this. Yeah, I just know that it really bit McDonald's in the ass doing this.
Yeah, one fry for every medal. So you guys
Yeah.
get a large fry. Dang, that's crazy. That's a lot of medals, man. There were some products that were launched that you could eat at home, such as Extra Gum and Cinnamon Toast Crunch. But as far as restaurants that were founded, we also have in the fast food realm, Papa John's opened their doors for the first time in 1984. But I think probably the most relevant piece of information here in my foodstuffs is Another commercial that came out this year that would go on to probably a little bit bigger acclaim than the Jason Alexander McDLT commercial was the Wendy's commercial. The campaign, Where's the Beef? The Where's the Beef Wendy's commercials.
I watched that commercial too with
It's
the
so
old
funny.
ladies. Where's the beef?
Little Clara Peller was her name. It's funny that everyone remembers her name for some reason. It's a giant hamburger bun. They go, oh, it's a big fluffy bun. It's quite a fluffy bun. And then they open it up and she looks over the counter and goes, Where's the beef? And it just captured the nation's attention. People loved that ad campaign so much. It really did a lot for Wendy's. It kind of brought them into we're one of the main hamburger places now. It was so popular that presidential candidate Walter Mondale used the phrase in response to an answer from Gary Hart at the 1984 Democratic presidential primaries. The moderator asked them all a question, and when Gary Hart answered and was basically just kind of said nothing with his answer, then Walter Mondale was like, when I hear your answer, I'm reminded of that fast food commercial. Where's the beef? So it just became white people would, say hey, what you're saying is vapid and doesn't have any substance to it. Really captured the nation's attention.
Yeah, that was definitely big going on this year because everybody still knows it.
Yeah, that was something that got said for many years after that.
Yeah. So I remember hearing it all the time, and I was born 8 years after this.
Yeah, I still will sometimes use it if I'm at the supermarket or something like that, and I know I'm where's the beef? Oh, here it is. The next aisle over. A couple other products that were released to get us into the tech space slowly. But we have Advil came out for the first time in 1984 to relieve you of your pains. Depends came out as well to help you relieve you of your bladder.
In case you relieve yourself.
Oh, I feel so good. That pain's finally gone. Oh, shit. And then the other one, this is, I feel like all three of these were probably marketed to a similar crowd. Another big, huge cultural touchstone of the 80s was the clapper that came out this year.
For the lights?
Yeah. It's basically an extra thing you plug into your outlet and then plug two different appliances into. Probably your lights are the smartest thing, or your TV, I guess people would do as well. And a lot of times on the commercials, it would be older people sitting in bed, and then the song would come on, clap on, clap off, the clapper, and then and as you clapped, it would echo through the room or whatever and switch off your lights. But I guess dogs barking turned it off, and people slamming doors and dropping things, so your lights are going on and off all day. Feels like you're living in a haunted house.
Yeah, for sure. I never had one. It seemed like a luxury item growing up, and seems like not very. Yeah. Did you ever have one or know anyone?
No, I never had one. I feel like I've used one once before. I remember somebody. I can't remember the context of it. I do remember though once getting to try to use a clapper, and it was cool.
It is a cool invention, though, I have to say.
Yeah, I think it's funny that despite it being something that clearly has its flaws, it was really popular. It's something that I knew the song before watching the commercial. I'd heard it before, and it was obviously something people were interested in enough to let it be successful, even though it didn't work that great.
Yeah.
All right, now we're ready to get into some real tech stuff here.
I got one good one off the bat. Okay, so the Dodge Caravan and the Plymouth Voyager would both premiere as the world's first minivans.
Oh, really?
Yep. Offering a spacious and versatility over a general station wagon.
Wow. Huh. I guess that makes sense now that I'm thinking about it. I can't picture minivans from before the 80s, and they feel like a very 80s thing. But I guess it's something I never connected the dots on.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I mean,
it is cool.
I spent my childhood in minivans.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't have one, but my best friend had one and a few other people. Astro vans were super popular when we were kids, and it's just a variation of it.
We had the Safari, which was the GMC version of the Chevy Astro.
Okay.
So it's the same exact thing.
Same model.
Yeah, the sliding door on the side and everything.
These kind of look like that too, if you look them up. If You take a second. Ask Timeless Tony to show
What was
you a
it?
picture of them. The Dodge Caravan and the Plymouth Voyager. I mean, they look pretty similar. You can look up either one, but
Well, we can't unfortunately reach Timeless Tony. He's unable. There's too much satanic presence in the air in this year, so I'll be right back. I got to run down and look at the local car salesman place. Oh yeah, you know what this reminds me of is we had one when I was very young, a Chevy Chrysler Aerostar, is that what it was? Another big tech invention. This one's really big is on January 24th, Apple released the Macintosh, their first ever personal computer. This is the first successful mass market all-in-one desktop. So essentially kicked off the desktop era of computers. The commercial for this is another great commercial that if you haven't seen the commercial, you've at least seen it parodied before. The commercial was called 1984. It was directed by Ridley Scott, which is pretty cool, the guy who did Alien. Mm-hmm. And it starts off with everybody, like a big room, like a giant gray room with like a screen at the end of it, and a bunch of people in like gray robes are all sitting there watching it mindlessly, and it's like, we are all one. We will all do this, blah, blah, blah. It's like this dystopian future, and this woman runs in, this like hot chick in like a tank top and like little red shorts, runs in carrying a huge hammer, and then she spins around and throws it at the screen, and the screen explodes, and then it's like, in 1984, Apple released the Macintosh computer. See why 1984 won't be like 1984.
yeah, because it was
Meaning
supposed
the
to
novel.
be the novel. Yeah.
Yeah. The commercial was parodied on Futurama is one of the ones that I remember. In the
Yeah, a
episode
few
where
of them.
They thaw out the 80s guy, so he like makes a commercial for Planet
Yeah.
Express, and it's that commercial. Super funny commercial, though. I mean, I can't imagine watching that for the first time because you probably, I mean, especially given the era that you're in and like the time. Now we look back, we go, God, how goofy or whatever. But it's like you would have been like, whoa, this is so cool. I'm buying whatever this is, man.
No, it cost a bunch of money to do that commercial, and like first time people actually like put a lot of time and effort into it, and it aired on the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I forgot it was a Super Bowl.
So that was, I think we've talked about Super Bowl commercials, I think maybe before, but they're becoming more prevalent, I think, in this time.
Yeah, for sure.
People are actually willing to spend money and like on stuff like that.
Yeah, paying to get Ridley Scott to direct it, that's super cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know he did that.
The
Very neat.
Macintosh, I would say the Macintosh computer came out with the price tag of $2,495, which is
In back then money?
Yeah, which is over $6,000 for inflation.
That's a lot.
A lot of De Niro's.
I wonder how many people had them.
Probably not very many.
No, I don't. I know that when we did 1982, unemployment was at an all-time high. So I think in 84, I can't imagine people are doing that much better. So I don't know.
I mean, but also, what would you use it for if nobody else really has one?
That's a good point too.
Filing and things like that, I guess.
Business,
like for
yeah.
a business, yeah. Like,
Here's another cool piece of technology that I didn't know had been around so long. The Discman portable CD players. They would later change their name to Walkman. So like the one portable CD player that everyone ever had, the Walkman.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Those started in 84. That's really, I didn't imagine people walking around listening to CDs back then. I still think of like boom boxes with a cassette in them,
Yeah, well, it's probably becoming more and more prevalent at this point, because CDs have been around for a while at this point.
Yeah, I think they started in like the late 70s, started working on them. And I think actually in
Yeah.
1982 is when they first came out for, consumers to be able to get. They weren't really something people were using yet, but they were around. So in the still in the tech world, a couple games that came out this year that are very 1980s. Duck Hunt, Excite Bike, and Marble Madness, all released in 84. I loved Duck Hunt as a kid. Did you ever play it?
Duck Hunt was awesome. We had it on the original Nintendo.
Yeah, so did we with like the gun and everything, and that's that dog that laughs at you and you try to shoot him because he's pissing you off. That technology is super cool with the light gun. It was essentially just a timing thing. Like it didn't really matter where you pointed it, which I still was always like, no, it does. But it's like it really was just like if the light from your gun would have made a light which would then turn off the screen at the same time or something like that, and then like it would catch the fact that you had shot and it would register as a hit. It's like pretty interesting technology. Yeah, it wasn't, it's not just point and click kind of thing. They had to get creative with how to, make this thing actually track that you were shooting at the right time.
Interesting. Because, like, why would that not matter, though? Like, because I'm thinking, like, if you can shoot right away, would that be off?
Yeah,
Why
I don't
would
know.
the timing matter? Because of the birds in flight for 3 seconds. If you
Yeah,
click in
long
that
window.
3 seconds.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if it was like it specifically had to be like at a certain point on the screen or something like that, or a certain size maybe between, like if it's too
Yeah,
far
like
away,
a
you're going to miss. If
certain-
it's too close, you'll miss.
Yeah, a certain window. Interesting.
Some other toy-esque, video games are essentially toys. Maybe not anymore. Now they're a career. Back then,
Yeah,
they're still toys. But Power Wheels, pow, 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 Power Wheels, those debuted in 1984. They had actually been around for a little while. Like, they'd been being made as a different company, but then Power Wheels became a company, bought, like, all of the designs for this thing, and then started mass marketing them, and they became super successful right away. So you get yourself a little Jeep.
Yeah, those, I mean, is that where Hot Wheels came from, or is that or is that
No, I mean, like the little...
after?
No, Power Wheels are the ones you get inside and ride around in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we used to have one of those when I was a kid. Really cool. I mean, that the idea of just having a tiny car for yourself is so badass.
That is really cool. Hasbro would drop Transformers this year, and it would also launch into a TV show this year as well. And they just piggybacked off each other, People got the toys. People got the toys because of the show.
Yeah, one hand washed the other, essentially. I mean, basically the way it all shook out was, especially back in the 80s, cartoons existed to sell toys. It was not really the other way around. Nowadays you have, let's go buy Paw Patrol toys because the kids like the cartoon. But back then, it was, we have these toys. How are we going to sell them? We need to come up with marketing materials. In 1983, Hasbro reps were sent to Tokyo to go to the Tokyo Toy Show. And they were looking for toys that they could import back to the U.S. There was a toy company called Takara, and they were showcasing 2 different lines they had of toys that changed and transformed. So Hasbro bought the rights to those, decided to make them both just one thing. And in order to do that, they needed to have some sort of backstory and all that. They already had a working relationship with Marvel because Marvel did the comics for G.I. Joe. So when they got the rights to this new line of toys, they contracted with Marvel and had them create a line of comic books that would explain the backstory of the Transformers, as well as come up with names and the character traits of everybody. So, like, the actual designs were already there, obviously, because the toys existed. But then they had to name them and say, this guy is Starscream. He does this, So those comic books, as well as the toy and the TV show, all released together, essentially to sell those toys. But every iteration of the Transformers was wildly popular as soon as it came out. People liked the show. They loved the show. The show lasted forever, And like I said, the comics were extremely popular. So Marvel Comics, they are having a good year this year because on top of doing the Transformers comics, Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars debuted this year. Secret Wars is something that they talk about. They've kind of rebooted. There's also a different comic story called The Secret War. That's a different one. But this was a 12-issue run from May to April. I'm assuming they're going to make this one into a big movie eventually because what this one is about is this guy named the Beyonder grabs all of the Avengers and the X-Men and a bunch of Marvel villains and puts them all onto a planet called Battleworld and then just goes, I want to see which one of you guys is actually the strongest. Have at it. So it's like these 3 factions of superpowered people all against each other on an alien world. While they're in this alien world, Spider-Man, who's involved in the Secret Wars, he comes in contact with an alien life form that nobody has seen before, one that would later be called the symbiotes. And he received his black suit.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah.
I got a shirt with Spider-Man in his scary, scary black suit. Oh. He's been taken over by an alien. So, and then also the run of Spider-Man's alien suit that he had in his individual comics. He had a run of that in 1984 too. So this is the introduction of Spider-Man's black suit, which would go on to be wildly popular in the 90s, and then introduce Venom and all of that.
Super cool. Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's move the dial over to sports. Enough of this nerd shit.
All right.
Comic books are not cool in 1984. We don't want to get our asses kicked.
All right, so I'm just gonna rattle off some of the champions of the year. The Super Bowl champions would be the Los Angeles Raiders. NBA champions would be the Boston Celtics. Stanley Cup champions would be the Edmonton Oilers. And the World Series champion would be the Detroit Tigers. And fun fact about the World Series is that it was known as the Fast Food Fall Classic because the owners was Ray Kroc of McDonald's, was the owner of the Padres.
Huh.
And Tom Monahan was the owner of Domino's Pizza and the Detroit Tigers.
That's cool.
So, yeah, it was, and the...
Damn, burgers versus pizza?
Yep, pizza's won.
Dang, yeah, that feels 80s. That feels like the 1980s. It's like, look, we're done. Remember in 1982, Ronald Reagan was all pissed off because nobody was eating hamburgers. And so...
It's like, they're pizza. Pizza's for the win in the 80s, man.
Pizza's coming up, dog. It's the new thing, man. Get out of that beef world.
Actually, speaking of, later, the Tigers would be sold to the owners of Little Caesars.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Just keep it in the pizza family, I guess.
Yeah.
Who owns the Padres now? Burger King? What the hell?
Right.
Just trading hands. Speaking of San Diego, we'll start there. The San Diego Clippers moved to Los Angeles this year. So no more NBA teams for San Diego. Kind of interesting after how, your Padres are doing well,
Yeah.
Like, hey, the Padres are doing so well this year. Let's just focus on that. We'll put all our eggs in that basket, and then here we are now. Padres are still perennially decent. They're never great,
Mm-hmm. They made the playoffs. See what happens.
We'll see. I mean, I like the Padres. I always have. I've been to a million Padres games, but it's a bummer that the Clippers moved. I would have loved to have had a San Diego team as opposed to another LA team.
Yeah, for sure. It'd be cool if they moved back, but then
I would love
San Diego fucks up with their sports teams.
They always do, man.
Yeah.
My last little bit of sports information, and this will get us right on over into TV. The first ever true skate video was released in 1984. It's titled The Bones Brigade Video Show.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
one that, I watched that one a lot when I was a kid. There was Skater Dater, which I don't remember if we actually talked about, but I know I watched. It came out in the 60s. It featured skateboarding, but it wasn't really a skate video. This is the first time it was like, hey, we're promoting our products here. Like, Stacy Peralta owned the Bones Brigade, and he was upset with the way that the magazines, were playing favorites with who they were giving ad space to and whose writers they were featuring in articles and shit. So he said, I'll do this myself. So he and Craig Stesick, his longtime creative partner, decided to make a video. And so they came out with the Bones Brigade Video Show. And, man, it's a classic. I love that one. From the Bones Brigade era, a lot of people remember Animal Chin being their favorite, but that one's, got more of a story to it, and I just don't love watching that one. Bones Brigade Video Show is really cool to just throw on, where Lance Mountain comes out of the chimney at the beginning and stuff like that. It's a great video.
Yeah, it's been forever since I've seen it. Now, isn't he like a producer now? Speaking of him doing videos and stuff like that,
Yeah, Stacy Peralta became a director. He wrote and directed the documentaries Dogtown and Z-Boys, as well as Riding Giants. And then he wrote the script for the movie Lords of Dogtown. He also randomly directed one sketch of Mr. Show.
Random.
I remember reading that a while ago, and I tried to find any information I could about why he had done that or how he got involved with them or why he didn't do more. And there just was not really any information. It just basically is he did that.
Gotcha. I don't know. I thought he was more involved in that.
I think, it was... I mean, he was for a while. I mean, he directed a couple documentaries that were super well received. I mean, they're really good. Not just because he knows everything about the stuff he's talking about, but, there was some filmmaking aspects that went into it that were kind of sort of revolutionary in a sense, like his kind of layering effect that he did to create 3D images. He hired somebody to do that, but like, that he put that in, like the way he organized information on the screen was kind of a new thing. So he's a visionary guy.
Okay, cool.
Well, speaking of vision, let's turn on the television. Our top programs for the year, coming in at number 1 is Dallas. Number 2 is Dynasty. Those are similar in that they both start with D. Number 3 is The Cosby Show, which would debut this year. It came out and took the 3rd spot right away. So Bill Cosby was already a big popular guy.
I was say he was popular at this point.
Yeah, so made sense for him to get a TV show. And as soon as he did, everyone went, "Oh, cool! I'm gonna watch that." I love Bill Cosby. I used to love The Cosby Show. That was one of my favorite shows as a kid.
Yeah, I used to watch it.
I've seen every episode. I loved that show so much. Here are a couple debut TV shows for the kiddos. Of course, we mentioned Transformers. That's probably the biggest of these cartoons, but a couple of the really huge ones. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, their cartoon debuted this year. Comic books had already been around. Also, Dragon Ball, the original, before Dragon Ball Z, where he's still a little monkey boy. That one came out this year. Rainbow Bright, Muppet Babies, The Snorks, and Thomas the Tank Engine.
Huh.
All debut in 1984.
That was a book before, though. That was probably popular.
Yeah, and I think it only debuted in the UK this year. I don't think it made its way over to the US yet. But for when the kiddos go off to bed and the adults are ready to watch TV, you can throw on Murder, She Wrote. Oh, murder, more Halloween. There's also Miami Vice. Vice. Night Court. Night. Punky Brewster. Well, Punk. Who's the Boss? Satan. And The Cosby Show. I don't need to say anything about that. Scary enough now.
Blue Thunder debuted, too.
What's Blue Thunder?
And Airwolf. They're both, like, helicopter-based TV shows that came out in 1984. Dave Carvey is on...
Dana Carvey?
Dana Carvey is on Blue Thunder.
Okay. Is it a comedy?
I don't think so.
Interesting.
I looked it up, and I think it's like a serious show.
I like the idea of Dana Carvey like doing Garth faces, trying to be serious. Oh man! Oh, oh.
Oh, it only lasted one season, I guess.
Did you watch it at all?
There was clips of it that I watched, but I didn't like watch a whole episode of it.
I gotta check that out. That's funny. All right, I got one last TV thing that's a perfect transition into the music.
Okay.
On September 14th of this year, the first ever MTV Video Music Awards would air, the VMAs. The 80s, was a time when music videos would be at their most important, their biggest, reach culturally. And the MTV generation is kind of being born right here, This is the start of it looking like MTV that we knew, the way that they would have that image through the 80s and 90s. The host of the event was Dan Aykroyd, which makes sense. He was pretty popular at the time. Mm-hmm. The other host was Bette Midler, which that one threw me for a loop.
That's cool.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of random. She had come out with an album the year before where she did some cover songs of like the Rolling Stones and things like that. So I guess she was kind of trying to appeal to the youth, probably, is what her idea was. Madonna's performance of Like a Virgin is one of the most iconic live performances ever. It's where she comes out on the big bed and rolls around on the floor and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I guess one of her shoes came off accidentally, so to like cover that up, she just jumped on the ground and started rolling around and made it just more provocative than anything. She ended up accidentally showing her panties to the crowd, and or who knows if it was accidental or if that was just her cover story, but put her on the map, that's for sure. The best male video went to David Bowie's China Girl. Best female video to Cyndi Lauper's Girls Just Want to Have Fun. Best group video was ZZ Top's Legs. And this was another, in the same vein as Bette Midler, the person who won the most awards was Herbie Hancock. And he took home the awards for Best Concept Video, Most Experimental Video, Best Special Effects, Best Art Direction, and Best Editing, all for his music video called Rocket. And surprisingly, only taking home the awards for Best Choreography, Best Overall Performance, and Viewer's Choice was Michael Jackson's Thriller.
Oh, damn.
You would think that would have been the winning video.
Yeah.
One of the
right.
all-time best videos.
It's still one of the all-time best videos.
Yeah. Obviously, the viewers picked it as the viewer's choice. Whoever was involved in the behind-the-scenes shit was like, why are you guys hiring Bette Midler and giving all these awards to Herbie Hancock? You know? That's so funny to think some big dumb executive in there be like, oh, you're going to appeal to the kids. Well, hold on. They got to hear about Herbie. Did you see Herbie Hancock's new video? It was amazing. You know? This guy's doing way better stuff than those kids. The Eurythmics. The Eurythmics took home Best New Artist in a Video for Sweet Dreams.
Oh, okay.
It's so funny to have Cyndi Lauper, Madonna, the Eurythmics, Michael Jackson, and be like, here's Bette Midler and Herbie Hancock.
It's so weird. Speaking of music and music videos alike, let's jump in to the top 5. We break down some of the top 100s. Trey makes a cool little playlist that you guys can go check out, which we are then on Spotify or on Instagram. But number 5 on the top of the music charts was Against All Odds by Phil Collins. Released on March 26, 1984. It was recorded for the soundtrack for Against All Odds. This stayed for the number 1 chart for 3 consecutive weeks and was the first of 7 number 1 for Phil Collins' solo career. It also topped the chart in Canada, Ireland, Norway, and peaked at number 2 in the UK. The song won the Grammy Award for the Best Pop Vocal Performance by a Male in 1985 and was nominated for both Academy Awards and Golden Globe for Best Original Song.
Yeah, and speaking of it being number 2 in the UK, I thought that was interesting because covers by Mariah Carey and one of the X Factor winners named Steve Brookstein, they both reached number 1 with the song. So I think that's funny that they took his, he only reached number 2 and they covered it and reached number 1 over there. 2 versions I haven't heard of, but I've heard his,
Yeah, I've
Obviously,
heard this one.
This one's more popular here. I've never seen the movie.
Me neither. Mm-mm.
He originally wrote this song back in 1981, and it was titled "How Can You Just Sit There?" But he shelved it because it was like his least favorite of the ballads that he wrote for that album. So he was just like, this one's not good enough to put out, and he just kind of shelved it until he got asked if he wanted to do a soundtrack song. So he showed him that, and they said, "Hell yeah, let's do that one." So he just wrote some lyrics up for it real quick. One other interesting piece of information about this song that I thought was noteworthy is that it's RZA's favorite power ballad. In an interview that RZA gave with Spin Magazine from RZA from the Wu-Tang Clan, he was interviewed by Spin Magazine, and his favorite power ballad was Against All Odds. I like Phil Collins a lot. I think I just like the idea of Phil Collins for some reason. His music is not necessarily like I think I like his voice, I guess is what it is, but
Yeah.
I think if it was a different person singing, I would not enjoy this song.
Phil Collins, to me, I think the first time I ever heard him or prevalently was on Tarzan movie.
I think that's probably where I know him from.
So every Phil Collins song just reminds me of that.
Mm.
It's hard to get over it, but I do like Phil Collins. He's a good drummer, even when he played.
That's super cool.
Yeah, he's a super good drummer.
I think it's neat that he drums and sings,
Yeah, that's hard in itself. Just doing that alone is hard.
My sister was really into like Genesis, really. She liked the band that he had come from. And so she liked Genesis a lot and just was into Phil Collins. I don't know if it was because of she was, a couple years older than me, so when Tarzan came out, she probably was like, I like this music. I'm going to figure out who this guy is, and she just got into his back catalog and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's got an interesting story. We've talked a little bit about him over the episodes that like Genesis started out in the late 60s as like a psychedelic band, and then after a couple of years they started doing prog rock, and then they eventually like he took over singing for it. So it was a couple of years and a couple albums deep that he finally started singing for the band, and that's when they really took off and like have all their cool, like they kind of go from being prog rock and stuff to just sort of being pop at a certain point, and that's when I think they are actually their bst.
Yeah. Maybe they just found their niche.
And I had always thought that he was like a multi-instrumentalist, but he's just primarily a drummer. Like, he doesn't really like playing piano. He never learned to read music. And there's a performance that he gave at Live Aid where he's playing piano and he like messes up one of the notes in his song while he's playing it. He's like, you can tell he's like, oh man, I'm pretty sure he's playing against all odds. And yeah, he kind of messes up one of the notes early on in it, and I was just surprised at that. I thought of him as a piano person, you know. I mean, I knew he was the drummer, but also I thought that's where he did his work, was at the piano.
Yeah.
Pretty cool to be writing songs and just I guess he just hums them. And like he can play what he's humming kind of and play it out, but then he just goes like, this is what I want it to be, and then gives it to somebody else.
Yeah, give it to somebody who's more musically inclined. I guess you don't need to learn sheet music if you're a drummer, right? You just need the beat counts.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I think that I read that he regretted not being more studious in his music.
Well, I mean, yeah, he's amazing in itself. I mean, you can imagine if he actually took the time to, like, I don't know, go to college and, like, get a music degree.
Yeah.
You know?
That's true. Okie dokie. Number 4 on the list is Footloose by Kenny Loggins, released January 11th of 1984. This spent 3 weeks at the top of the charts. This was Kenny Loggins' only number 1 hit. That surprised me to know he didn't make it with That's All Right or with Danger Zone. But this is from the Footloose soundtrack, so this is 2 in a row that are coming from soundtracks. Also got nominated for Best Original Song at the Oscars. Obviously would lose to Phil Collins. Loggins has been called the king of the movie soundtrack, I guess, by some people, because he did so many soundtracks in the 80s. Caddyshack and Top Gun and Footloose, you know. Interesting thing to get into. I didn't know he was from the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band.
I didn't know that either.
That's where he started playing music. That's like where he's from. And then eventually he broke off and did Loggins and Messina in the 70s. I'm aware of that part of his career.
Yeah.
I know I don't listen to that too much, but I know he did that.
Mm-hmm.
And then he became a solo artist later. So I mean, this is like the 3rd iteration of his career, and this is where he really got the most famous. That's pretty cool for him.
Well, that's good. You just did it all on your own, Kenny.
Yeah, I don't need that. Ew, that nitty gritty dirt band. Fuck. Take a shower, get some money. This song has been criticized for sounding like Funk 49 by the James Gang. And I mean, I'm super familiar with that song. So when I read that, I was like, are they talking about the part I'm thinking about? It's just the people. I mean, it's something that I saw a lot online, like people on Reddit and stuff saying, like, a lot of people who said, I grew up knowing Footloose, and then I heard this song and went, oh, this sounds just like Footloose. Or somebody who said, like, oh, I loved the James Gang, but all my friends knew Footloose, so when I would play this song, they would go, was that Footloose? And I'm like, is anybody confusing these two? Like, it's just the beginning of James Gang that goes like, you know, bow, 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 bow. And people think that sounds like Footloose. Kick off your Sunday shoes. It's like, yeah, they're sort of similar.
Well, I guess it's just people's opinion. As long as there's no like lawsuits or anything for it. I don't think I saw validity to that, you know.
But it was something that was like on the Wikipedia page. This song has been criticized heavily for sounding like Funk 49, and I just don't. I think that's wild to criticize that. I think they have some sort of similarity in that they both have, I don't know, a rhythmic thing, but it's not even the same timing. It's not the same key. It's just, I don't know. It's weird. I disagreed with the general consensus on that one, but let us know what you think. Go listen to the Funk number 49 by the James Gang, Footloose by Kenny Loggins, and am I completely off base here? Am I just out of my mind? Or has my brain been controlled by Satan?
I'm back here in 1984. You never know.
I'm panicked.
All right. Number 3 is Say, Say, Say by Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson. Released on spooky October 3rd, 1983. It was number 1 for 6 weeks, and it remains McCartney's final number 1 single. He would never hit number 1 again. Jackson stayed at McCartney's home when they were making the music video and recording the song. And sitting around Paul McCartney's table, he would show him the publishing rights that he owned, that McCartney was buying. And he said, this is the way I make my money. Every time someone records these songs, I get paid. Every time somebody plays these songs on the radio or plays them in a live performance, I get paid. And McCartney's words influenced Jackson's later purchases, which would include all of Paul McCartney's discography later on, and would like screw him out of his rights.
Yeah. I guess he even joked to him at the time, one day I'll own your songs. And they both kind of laughed it off. I guess Paul, he had every opportunity to buy these rights earlier. This isn't like something that just Michael Jackson did it under the cover of night or some shit. Paul thought the price was too high. At the time, music rights weren't really seen as this big lucrative investment. That's why Paul McCartney was like giving him the DL, you know, being like, hey, if you do this, you get some cash on the side. And so Michael Jackson was just like, all right, cool, I'll just own the Beatles songs. Those are the most popular songs there are, so I'll do that. And Paul was all upset because, he just thought it was a shitty thing because they were friends. This drove a wedge in their friendship. Like they had already collaborated on The Girl Is Mine.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me, actually. This was recorded a year before they would collaborate on The Girl Is Mine from Thriller. So, like, they were friends. They would go on to do another song. It came out earlier, but they were both recorded, within a year of each other. And, yeah, they were hanging out. They, like, became friends, hanging out at his house and all that. And then, yeah, Paul just thought it was a little bit of a shady thing. And Michael was just like, it's business, dude. Like, you had every chance to buy it. I bought him. So, because you thought it was too high, I didn't. I thought it was the right price, and I bought him, and now I'm fucking super rich off of it,
Yeah.
Yoko Ono told John not to buy the songs, and she was cool with Michael owning them. She said, I'd rather they go to Michael Jackson than to go to some company. They go to another artist. That's cool with me. So she was okay with it. And, John Lennon was very outwardly talked about how he didn't care about money and shit like that. And also he had way more than enough money at the time. So I think he was fine,
Yeah. He wasn't pissed off about it.
Yeah.
Did you watch the music video for this song?
No, I did not.
It's so random. They're like in an old western town, and they're like selling snake oil basically, and like haggling people. And then they take all the money that they like swindled off these people, and they go give it to an orphanage. Mm-hmm. And then they like are performers in like a live play, and the cops catch up to them, and then they're running from the law. Anyway, it has nothing to do with any of the song.
Yeah, I read some
Literally
stuff about it.
Absolutely nothing, and it makes no sense at all.
One of the things that I read that really gave me pause was that during the video, Michael flirts with a young woman who's played by LaToya Jackson. It was like, ew, his sister? Why would you make that be the relationship in the video? Gross. Have her help him out stealing something, you fucking weirdos. What the hell? This song is actually... this was really mind-blowing to me. This was Jacko's 7th top hit of 1983, of songs that he released in 83. This was number 7 to hit number 1. That's fucking crazy. Which broke a record that was held by the Beatles and Elvis jointly up until that point. But Billboard has stated that this is the top spot as Jackson's best performing Hot 100 chart single. So this is Michael Jackson's best performing song ever.
That's so hard to believe.
Yeah, I find that super crazy. I think
I
think
they're wrong, to be honest. I'm going to be honest with you. I think that they're wrong.
I think that what it probably is that Michael Jackson diluted his brand so hard for this album specifically. 7 singles, all of them to hit number 1. That means none of them are getting the numbers that they would have done if they were all just one single or 2 singles that came out,
Yeah.
You're dividing up your listenership 7 different ways. So, if he had come out with these singles maybe one year after the other or all from different albums, but the fact that they all dropped in the same year, you can't listen to 3 Michael Jackson songs at once, I guess. So this one having Paul McCartney, I'm sure, captured a different audience as well. There was that other side of people who weren't going to listen to pop or listen to Michael. So they listened to it for Paul. So I do find it shocking, but I guess it makes some level of sense. The other interesting thing about Michael Jackson's visit to Paul McCartney's house is that on top of purchasing the rights to ATV Music, and that was in 1985, so that was right after this, basically. He also liked the house that Paul was living in so much that he would buy that house in 1988 and rename it Neverland Ranch.
What the fuck? It's messed up.
Isn't that weird? Yeah. That's
I don't know.
super
Maybe
strange to
Michael
me.
Jackson wasn't the nicest guy, is all I'm saying.
It's so funny to just show up. Michael Jackson was 24 at the time that they did the actual recording, and Paul McCartney was 40. Paul was a legend, and Michael was, just striking out on his own. He hadn't been that successful as a solo artist. He had some success, but he wasn't the biggest guy in the world by a long shot. The Jackson 5 was big, and then when he went on and did on his own, he had some level, but he wasn't a superstar. So, I mean, he was obviously, he walked into that house and just went, wow, I want to be just like Paul, I want to own all your music, Paul, and I'm going to own your house. Like, that's just, that's what happened. I don't think he was trying to be mean.
I think you're okay. You're probably right, but that's...
I think that he probably walked around. I don't even have to think probably. He started dressing up in Sgt. Pepper uniforms. You know what I mean? He was always wearing like a military uniform. He's just like, I'm a little Paul McCartney, and everyone's going to love me like they love Paul.
It's so crazy.
I'm a little lad from Liverpool. I didn't listen to this, but in 2015, there was a remix that was released that swapped their vocal parts. I guess they had recorded the song enough. They both basically recorded the whole song. So then they swapped who did the verses and who did what parts of the chorus. I didn't listen to it because I thought, oh, I can imagine what that would sound like. The same, but the other way around.
Same, but different.
So that's interesting, though, that they decided to do that. In 2015, Paul McCartney's just like, oh, we could release that Michael Jackson song.
Again.
When did he die? That was in like 2011. So
yeah, somewhere around there.
Look what I just found. Me and my old friend Michael Jackson.
Like, I thought you guys weren't friends.
Because I'm not even mad about it. I don't even care. It's fine.
I can't remember exactly what he said. I think he basically said it was in like the 2000s, I think, that he did an interview where he said,
so, I write him letters all the time. He never responds to me, So I think it just drove a wedge between us.
So, I think he was a little bit broken up by it.
Yeah. Interesting.
I just need to hang out with Michael Jackson, That little weird guy who's half my age. I miss him terribly.
Okay, number two?
Number two.
Is that me? Okay.
Yeah, it's you.
Number two is What's Love Got to Do With It by Tina Turner. Came out around May 1st of 1984. Spent 3 weeks at the top of the charts. This is Tina Turner's best-selling single. I thought that was pretty interesting. It's her first and only solo number one. Also was crazy to me. I can't believe she never got back on the charts. I mean, she did with Ike back in the day, but didn't do it again by herself.
Yeah.
She was 44 years old at this time, and so she became the oldest solo female artist to top the Hot 100s.
Yeah.
Yeah, she and Paul both hitting over 40 years old and still coming out and dominating.
Yeah.
That's interesting. This won Grammys for Record of the Year, Song of the Year, and Best Female Pop Vocal Performance. And once again, talk more about soundtrack stuff. The title of this song was used as the name of the 1993 Tina Turner biopic, also called What's Love Got to Do With It, obviously. So this would go on to be part of a soundtrack, not written for one explicitly, but it's kind of inextricably linked with that. Now when you look up What's Love Got to Do With It, half of the results are about the movie, even though this is a crazy popular song. It was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame in 2012. I like this song a lot.
Yeah, I like this song too.
I think it's a cool... I like that kind of... When I was a kid, I didn't appreciate this type of 80s music. It's an older woman. She's singing about different things than you sing about when you're younger and stuff like that. And the sound of it is kind of... I mean, it's very 80s, but it's also not synthesizers and pop and all that. So her voice is incredible on this one, though.
Yeah. No, she does amazing, for sure. it put her back in the spotlight after 13 years or so after Proud Mary.
Yeah, she hadn't had a hit in quite a while.
So good for her. Still like not being down and out, you know?
Yeah, and I guess they tried to give this song to a couple people, one of whom was Donna Summers, who turned it down. So I think Donna Summers probably could have used a little bit of an injection back into her career at this time too, so it's sure she was kicking herself afterwards.
Yeah, probably.
All right, number 1.
All right, number 1. When Doves Cry by Prince, written by Prince and came out on May 16th of 1984. It was written after all of the other tracks were already completed for Purple Rain. It was Prince's first Billboard Hot 100 single, and it stayed on the charts for 5 weeks. It was the last single released by a solo artist to receive a platinum certification before the certification requirements were lowered in 1989.
Oh.
Prince directed the music video, and the bass line, he took it out of the original. It was recorded with the bass line, and he took it out afterwards.
Yeah, I thought that was so interesting. It was also something I'd never picked up on, the fact that it didn't have a bass line.
Me neither. And I mean, it didn't need it, apparently, because we didn't
Not
even
at
notice.
all. Yeah, it's crazy. And I guess he said it sounded too conventional with that bass line in there.
Yeah.
And man, he was doing some weird stuff. Prince is really a talented individual. I will say 1984, the people did a good job. You know?
Good job, 1984, people. Proud of you.
This is my favorite number 1 that we've covered ever.
100%. This might be like my favorite song that we've ever covered on the top 5s.
Me too.
To be honest, it could be up there. I love this song. I listened to it a bunch this week already because it's so good.
It's so good. I've never seen Purple Rain, the movie. Have you?
No.
I have always wanted to see it. I just found it on Internet Archive, so I was going to watch that this morning, but I ran out of time. I didn't think to look there until last night, until it was too late. And I watched a bunch of movies this week, but I've always wanted to see that. The music video that Prince directed, all the executives at MTV and everywhere were like, oh, man, this is just too damn sexy. What are we going to do? They were worried. They were just like, dang, this guy's going to just ruin the country.
He's going to sex it up way too much. The guys are going to love it, and they're not going to know why. The girls are going to love it, and they're not going to know why.
I don't know what's going on. I think Satan's got something to do with it. He's got to. The song re-entered the charts in 2016 after Prince passed away and peaked at number 8. I think that's interesting that this is the one that everyone kind of went back to after the fact.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of places. I saw this comes up a lot on people's lists of like the greatest Prince song of all time and all those, and it's like never number 1 on a lot of people's lists. So I went through to try to find what do people like more than this one. Purple Rain is kind of considered his best song by a lot of listicles out there, and Purple Rain's great, but I mean this one is. God, I love this song. It's just so cool. Like it's upbeat, but not a dance. It's not like Let's Go Crazy, you know. Like or 1999 or anything. It's like less dancey, but also not as dramatic as Purple Rain, so it's more listenable a lot of the time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. This is this is one of my favorite songs of all time, probably. So good.
Yeah, he is so good. I listened to the B-side as well, just because I thought there was an interesting little factoid about it, in that it's the longest title to ever be on the B-side of a Hot 100 song, because the full title is 17 Days. The rain will come down, then you will have to choose. If you believe, look to the dawn, and you shall never lose. That's the full title of it. So it's like 18 words or something like that. I think it was like 85 characters in it, so it's the longest title ever on a Hot 100 single.
Dang, that's crazy.
I think, I mean, Prince was very... I mean, you could say he was a genius. I think that a lot of the stuff he did was weird, you know? And sometimes with some of the things you listen to, they can be a little overproduced, I think, sometimes. He adds a couple too many weird honks and stuff into some of the stuff, and zips and zaps and shit like that. But it's because his brain was firing on 100 cylinders, you know?
Yeah. Hey, you gotta be a little weird, man. You gotta be a little crazy to be an artist, to even just to have like a certain level of intelligence. It comes with a level of insanity, in my opinion.
Yeah, your brain works differently than other people's do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It sees some weird shit and makes patterns that other people don't, and then you combine that and you go, look at that, did you see that? And everyone's like, oh no, I didn't. Oh fuck, Satan. You know?
Yeah, it's true.
I've got to check out this movie though. I'm so bummed that I didn't get a chance to see it. So next time we do 1984, maybe we'll just cover that one. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Be a popular one, I'm sure. Okay, you want to jump into some of the other music? Oh shit, I got one thing I want to say about Paul McCartney first.
Oh, okay.
Paul McCartney was arrested this year in 1984 in Barbados for possession of marijuana.
Oh.
Police raided his vacation home after somebody let off tips that he had weed, and he got arrested for 10. Right, and he had 10 grams of weed.
Jeez, that's nothing.
Right, and he was only fined $100.
That's
and
fine, I guess.
But yeah, somebody like ratted him out totally. Now I think it was Michael Jackson. I'm just kidding.
You shouldn't be doing that. It's wrong. I like the idea of the cops getting the tip too and being like, I think Paul McCartney has weed. They're like, the Beatle? He's doing drugs?
What? Here?
Like,
right now?
You just have probable cause anytime he's in town. I think you just can frisk him whenever you feel like it, you know? or the cops had to go like, yeah, we know. And then the person was like, are you going to do something about it? Like, oh, fuck. Yeah, I guess so. Jesus, you asshole. Like, they walked in and just saw like a bowl on the counter and they went, hey, there you go, 10 grams. All right, we'll take it. And then just like
$100.
and bags
Cough
in
it
the
up.
back.
Right.
He's got plants in the background.
I just wanted to smoke a little weed, you know. I'm a 40-year-old man. What's wrong with that?
I watched an interview from after and he's like, marijuana is not as bad as your rum or your nicotine. And you will see that is not as bad.
And I love both of those things. Historically, I
do them
I
all the
smoke
time.
all the time. You can't find a picture of me from the 60s without a cigarette in my hand. So trust me, I know it's bad. Plus LSD, man. At least I'm not doing that and killing people.
Let's take a look at some of the other things from the top 100 and beyond. On our lists for Spotify, the first 50 songs are all from the top 100. Number 50 on the list is number 100 on the Billboard charts. Number 50 on here is Yamo Be There by Michael McDonald. That song is so funny to me.
I don't think I've ever heard it.
They use it in 40-Year-Old Virgin when Paul Rudd's character is complaining to Jane Lynch, and he's like, you have to play a different DVD on these screens because they work at like a Best Buy. And he's like, if I hear Yamo Be There one more time, Yamo blow my brains out.
There's a lot of super popular music that came out this year.
Cruel Summer by Bananarama. I'm so excited by the Pointer Sisters. John Lennon was on the charts with Nobody Told Me. I like that song. I'm not a huge fan of Lennon's solo stuff, but that song's pretty good.
Billy Idol, Billy Joel, a few Billies. The Cars were still on the radio.
Yes, the Cars actually took home the video of the year award at the VMAs. I think I neglected to mention that. Yeah, that's cool that they were still. I mean, they weren't that old at this time, but they are more of a 70s band.
Judas Priest, Bon Jovi, The Smiths.
Yeah, so many good ones. Rockwell with Somebody's Watching Me. That's a good Halloween song.
Oh, yeah.
Also got some Michael Jackson on that one. Uncredited. Yeah, Jump by Van Halen coming in at number 6. Man, Van Halen is such a band that I'm like, as a kid, I remember being like, these guys are fucking dorks. Why are they considered cool like all these other bands that they're like in the same... People are like, I listen to Iron Maiden, AC/DC, Van Halen, Aerosmith. Like, Van Halen, wait, one of those was not like the others. Go back a second. Like their music is so goofy to me.
Well, this year was actually their album named 1984, and this is the last song that would have David Lee Roth. And my favorite song by them is Hot for Teacher.
Hot for Teacher is an actual rock song.
That one kicks fucking ass. The drums in that song is insane.
Yeah, that one's good.
I've seen somebody do that live at like one of the small shows that I went to in town, and he fucking nailed it. He's really good. He's like a studio drummer. Mm-hmm. Dude, fucking crazy to watch somebody do that live.
My sister-in-law's band does that live.
Dude,
and
crazy.
they nail it. I just always think it's so crazy. See, Hot for Teacher is a good one. I think it's so wild to have Eddie Van Halen in your band, one of the best guitarists ever, and then you got Jump that's like 90% corny ass keyboard solos.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
And that's what was popular. Like,
yeah.
you know, but Hot for Teacher is just like more of the. I don't
That's
know.
from the same album.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I'm like, well, the 80s music was still the 80s music. They still have
This was
the lame keyboards. I hate that out of 80s music. All the same keyboard tones that everybody uses frustrates me.
Yeah, it's cool once, and then when everybody else jumps on the bandwagon, it stops being good.
Yeah. One more thing that happened this year. December 31st, Def Leppard's drummer Rick Allen and his girlfriend got into a car crash near Sheffield, England. He ran into a stone wall, basically, after trying to pass somebody. And the seatbelt that he was wearing wasn't on correctly, and it tore off his left arm from the shoulder.
Wow.
But then 3 years later, he would come back and he would get behind the drum kit again, and they released Hysteria in 1987.
So cool that he kept drumming with them.
Mm-hmm. That's super cool.
And he still plays with them in concert and stuff like that, too. I mean, I don't know about still, but, for years and years, I was just sitting there with, having to go back and forth. It's pretty cool. Reminds me of that baseball player who had one arm. You remember that?
Oh, yeah, the pitcher or something.
Yeah, and he would, put his glove on his shoulder, what was left of his arm right there,
mm-hmm.
and then just, throw it and then grab his glove real quick off his shoulder.
Yeah.
It's when you are a top-level person at what you do, losing an arm doesn't slow you down. That's so insane. You're still better than everyone else at the thing you're doing. You're so fucking cool.
Just can't hit those, what is it called when you...
A bunt?
Yeah, maybe not. Actually, you probably could. No, the drummer. You can't do, fills.
Yeah. I mean,
that's the only thing you,
I've seen some stuff of him, just being very percussion-based.
Yeah.
But I wonder
using both ends of the sticks, you're like...
I mean, dude, if you're that good at drumming and this is what you have to do now, he probably did learn how to do that,
Yeah.
He probably got good with one arm.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild, though. Scary. Losing your arm. That's Halloween. Losing your arm is very Halloween-y. Number 9 of this year is another soundtrack song. A lot of soundtrack stuff from this year. But number 9 is very noteworthy, as it's a little song by Ray Parker Jr. that I like to call Ghostbusters. Now,
what other people call it?
Well, we'll get into that in a minute, because there is some contention on that song. But why is this song so important? Well, I mean, ghosts are definitely Halloween-based, so that's good. But the real reason that this song was so popular is because the number 1 movie in the country for the year 1984 was Ghostbusters. That's right. The country, you guys are doing a good job of picking things to put your money behind. Prince and Ghostbusters were the number 1 things in the country. I'm so excited about 1984.
We're so proud of you guys.
George Orwell got it wrong. 1984 is great. It's super cool. I'm really I can't believe it's wild that this is my favorite year for both things so far, really. Ghostbusters and Prince. This is awesome. Ghostbusters came out June 8th of 1984, directed by Ivan Reitman, written by Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis, starred Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Sigourney Weaver, and Harold Ramis. Those are the people on the first build. I was like, man, I feel so bad for Ernie Hudson. Never gets any due. And then Rick Moranis was right outside of that, too. The budget for this movie was $30 million, and in 1984, it grossed $220,919,997.
Damn.
Yeah, number 1 in our country. Number 2 around here was Temple of Doom. That went number 1 worldwide. So another scary movie. Kind of.
Yeah.
Two spooky things were happening. I'm really surprised that this worked out so well for a Halloween episode. This movie was actually the highest grossing comedy of all time until Home Alone came out in 1990. So held that record for a while.
Yeah.
The 32nd highest grossing movie ever adjusted for inflation. When ghosts go on a rampage, only 3 men can save the world. It's Ghostbusters, starring Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, and Harold Ramis as a maniacal band of parapsychologists specializing in psychic phenomena and supernatural hilarity. Fired from university research jobs, Doctors Venkman, Stantz, and Spangler set up shop as Ghostbusters, ridding Manhattan of bizarre apparitions. But even the spirit exterminators are severely tested when beautiful Dana Barrett and her nerdy neighbor become possessed by demons living in their building. Soon, every spook in the city is loose, and our heroes face their supreme challenge at a rooftop demonic shrine. If you want your spirits raised, who are you going to call? Ghostbusters. That's from the back cover of the VHS tape. Now, let's say I got a bunch of casting stuff we can get into in a moment, but first let's just talk about your relationship with Ghostbusters.
Classic. Been watching it at Halloween time since I was a kid.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it very thoroughly, going back and rewatching it. I like watching these old movies now and seeing like how they do things, because everything now is just like CGI, and it's like that's not interesting. But in the beginning, where the eggs are popping out of the carton, I was like, "What the fuck? Like that's so cool." So I looked it up to see how they did it, and they had tubes with compressed like CO2 air that they that were like I went holes underneath the table, and they would press the air and it would make the egg pop and explode the egg. And
that's cool.
And then what I didn't notice during the movie is that the entire countertop was a hot plate, and then when the eggs land, they start boiling or cooking. Yeah. I was like, dude, this is so fucking cool. I think
so much better than CGI. Why wouldn't you do that now?
So much better. I mean, it takes more time and money and
it doesn't.
And process.
It takes less money. It takes so much money to do CGI. Like that's the thing that's so weird about it, is that people don't understand it. Like for The Thing, the remake of The Thing, the practical effects have gotten better at the same rate that digital effects have gotten. So when they did the remake of The Thing, they did practical effects for all of the like transformation scenes because the original is so great at that. And then the directors or the producers, somebody involved was like, no, we're going to go with CGI. And just ruined the movie, destroyed it, made it unwatchable. And I've never even seen that remake. I've seen some scenes of it, and I'm like, I'm not watching that bullshit. Why would I watch that? I can just watch the original. And they just fucked it up. It was like you could have had better special effects than you used to, and they just don't do it. I don't know why. But yeah, this movie, Ivan Reitman did so many cool things to just have to figure out, how are we going to do this? I don't know. Let's figure it out. One of the things that I had the same reaction to was in the beginning, it was so simple, but the library cards just shooting up all over the library as the librarian's walking through right in the opening. I was like, how did they do that? What I can sort of imagine, but I can't actually, I don't know how they did it for real. And so the people were just behind the wall. They pushed out the things and then blew through a tube at the cards, so the cards would all shoot up all over the place. And the producers said, yeah, there's a lot of air being blown around on this set. That's how we did a lot of our effects.
That's pretty cool.
I didn't know about the eggs thing, though, so I had looked up that effect because I was just like, how did they do that? Like, that's so neat, you know? It's so simple, but so cool.
Yeah.
This is one that I actually... It's always surprising to me that I haven't really seen this movie that many times. I've seen it 2 or 3 times before now. And it's always been one that I feel like I should love. I think other people assume I love this movie, and I like it a lot. And I love it every time I watch it, so I don't know why. I think when I was a kid, it was maybe a little too adult. It's a very adult movie. It's not for kids.
Yeah.
Really at all. It's weird that it's kind of been co-opted as a kids thing, but
maybe just because like adults watch it around Halloween and their kids it's not like it's a bad movie. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't not let my kids see it or anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They did when they did the sequel because of that. They had to tone down, or they didn't have to, but they decided to tone down a lot of the adult elements. For instance, they are very rarely without a cigarette in their mouths in this film.
Yeah, pretty much.
Constantly smoking. And in the second one, they don't smoke at all. Because they were like, this is for kids. Let's change it. Let's make it more of a kids thing. Like the lines about, one of my favorite lines in it is where he says, is this true? Yes, it's true. This man has no dick. And I guess the guy who played William Atherton, I believe is his name, he said that this role fucked up his life for a while, that everyone hated. He said people would try to fight him in bars. He said that one time he was walking down the street in New York, and a group of school buses went by all on a field trip or something, and all the kids got out of the window and went, "Hey, Dickless," as they drove by.
It's fucking awesome.
So it definitely influenced the kids. It became a children's movie somehow. against Dan Aykroyd's wishes. He meant for it to be an adult movie.
I got a fun little fact about this movie. So in the middle of the film's initial release, to keep the interest going on the movie, they ran a trailer that was basically a real Ghostbusters commercial. But the 555 number that was like advertised in the movie was changed to a 1-800 number and allowed people to call in.
That's cool.
And when they called, it was like a recording of Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd saying something like, we're out catching ghosts right now and we'll be back as soon as we can, to like get your whatever.
That's cool.
They got 1,000 callers an hour per hour, 24 hours a day for several weeks. I
would have called. That's so funny.
Yeah, that's so.
Like, I gotta keep calling back until I get Janine.
So talking about being then is like, this is what people were doing. We're calling in and being like, we gotta talk to the Ghostbusters. Like, it's so cool.
It is such a cool 80s way to do that sort of social marketing because there was no internet. You're not going to go to the website or check out or whatever. You just have to have people get involved. And how do you have someone get involved if there's no social networking or anything like that? Like, well, you call this number.
Yeah.
I always loved things like that where you could call a number and it would be some kind of recording. It always made me nervous. I was always afraid that someone was going to pick up for real on the other end.
Like, are you the Ghostbusters?
What if I get the real Ghostbusters on the phone? Why are you calling? Do you have a ghost? You're wasting our time. I'm sorry, Bill. There are so many interesting behind-the-scenes stuff about that. The casting for this movie, mostly, the writing a little bit. So I'm going to run down some of this casting what-ifs that we have, and there's quite a few. Initially, Dan Aykroyd was writing the role of Peter Venkman for John Belushi, his good pal. They had starred in a lot of things together. And unfortunately, John Belushi died while Dan Aykroyd was writing the script. So they lost their main character. Then, some of the people that were considered. Here we go. Chevy Chase turned down the role of Peter Venkman. Thank God. I can't stand Chevy Chase. Michael Keaton turned down both the roles of Peter Venkman and Egon Spengler. So Dan Aykroyd was always going to play the character he was playing, but they didn't really know who was going to play Spengler and who was going to play Venkman. So Michael Keaton turned down both of those roles. I was kind of bummed about that. I like Michael Keaton. Steve Guttenberg turned down Venkman to be in Police Academy instead, because that came out this year as well.
Okay.
I like Steve Guttenberg, but I like Bill Murray better, so I'm okay with that one. Tom Hanks, Robin Williams, and Richard Pryor were all considered for the role of Peter Venkman.
Thank God
Could
Tom
have seen
Hanks
it with
didn't
any
do
of
it.
those. I would have liked Tom Hanks. I like Tom Hanks. His 80s comedies are great. If you watch any of that stuff, his old stuff is great. Money Pit and Joe versus the Volcano, that old 90s stuff.
I just think it'd be such a different movie.
Yeah, I can, his like yell. I love Tom Hanks' comedy yell. He has the best comedy yell. Him right behind Gene Wilder. Hi! He's so great. I could totally see him. Oh, come on! He'd be great in this, covered in goo and stuff. Robin Williams, that would have been a much different movie.
Yeah, for sure.
I can't even think of how different the movie would have been to have him coming in and be like, "Oh, we got a ghost. Go ahead and turn on this." Just nonstop. That would have been such a different thing. Because Bill Murray is famously incredibly understated in his delivery of everything. So it would have been the complete opposite end of the spectrum to have Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Richard Pryor would have been cool too. I could picture him with a cigarette in his mouth, walking around like looking for ghosts. That would be cool. But I think they did a good job landing Bill Murray. It's one of these things where it's not like, oh man, I wish it would have been one of these other guys. Like, I'm cool with it being Bill Murray, but I could have seen it being one of these other guys.
Yeah.
For the role of Lewis, which ended up being played by Rick Moranis, John Candy was originally their choice. And he turned down the role when his ideas for the character were rejected because he wanted to play him with a German accent and have 2 Schnauzer dogs. And everybody was like, no, that's dumb. That's a bad idea. Why would he be German? And then also, we got a fuck ton of dogs in this movie. We don't need more dogs.
Yeah, we don't need to. Yeah, anyway, it's so random.
And just instead of being like, oh, okay, I'll play it like a normal human being, he just went, I'm not going to do it. So he decided not to be in the movie.
Maybe he didn't want to do it, and he was like, it has to be dogs.
Yeah. Fuck, I'll do this stupid movie. Yeah, let me be German and have dogs with me. I guess people weren't that stoked to be doing it. But like there was some kind of comedy camaraderie between SNL and SCTV, which was Second City Television was really big still at this time. John Candy and Rick Moranis and Harold Ramis all came from that. So I think, John Candy basically just kind of was like, oh, cast Rick instead. Jay Leno read for the role of Lewis as well. Which is interesting if it had been Jay Leno or John Candy, because the rest of the principal cast is all over 6 feet tall. Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Ernie Hudson, and Harold Ramis are all 6 foot plus. And then Rick Moranis is like 5.5 feet tall, so he's like way shorter than everybody else. It would have been funny if it was John Candy or Jay Leno, and it's just like, what is this giant movie? Why is everybody humongous?
I think it's funnier that Rick Moranis is in it because he's so short.
Yeah,
even compared to Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah, she's tall too. She might be 6 feet as well.
Yeah.
For Dana, the role that Sigourney Weaver played, Julia Roberts actually auditioned for the role. At that time, she was an unknown, and it was decided she was too young to play the part. So it could have been Julia Roberts. That would have been interesting. The role of Gozer, who is like the big bad guy at the end, was originally intended for Paul Rubens, who's better known as Pee Wee Herman. He turned down the role. I'm assuming because he was working on the Pee Wee's movie. That came out the next year.
Oh, yeah.
In the scripts, Gozer takes on the form of Ivo Shandor, the cult leader that they're talking about the whole time. So that was supposed to be Paul Rubens. And he was described as being like David Bowie meets Grace Jones. And I was like, the person you ended up casting ends up looking exactly like a mix of Grace Jones and David Bowie. It's crazy.
Yeah.
The final, they cast some supermodel to play the actual Gozer. And as a kid, I always thought that was just Sigourney Weaver in makeup. Like at the very end of the movie, I didn't realize it was a different person.
I don't know. I don't really remember. I could see why you would think that, but it's, like you said, it definitely looks like David Bowie.
Yeah. A tall, statuesque white woman, very strong bone structure and stuff. They look similar. They look similar enough that to a child it does be, it's the same. If it was a man, I would be like, oh, it's a different thing.
The one casting one that I got was Eddie Murphy declined the role as Winston.
Yeah, that's crazy. I think he was doing Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh, okay.
Yes, he was. That's what he's dropped out to do. And he initially, they had written the role for him. And so he was actually supposed to show up way earlier in the movie. He was going to be with them at the hotel during that whole kerfuffle. Mm-hmm. But he ends up, they rewrote the script to have him show up halfway through because it's like, well, now we don't have one of the biggest comedians ever to hold down this role. So we got to kind of bring it back a little bit. So they gave it to Ernie Hudson. And one of the people actually that was in contention for the role and almost was cast as Winston was Reginald Vell Johnson, who would go on to be the father in Family Matters, the cop from Die Hard.
Yeah.
He's in the movie for a second, and I thought it recognized him, but I thought there's no way that's him. He plays the prison guard that's in it for like 1 second who goes like, Ghostbusters, you're being bailed out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's in it for a split second.
Why is he always a cop?
That's funny, huh? Yeah. When Hudson was cast, Ivan Reitman offered him the role of the prison guard, and it was like, dang, man, like at least you're getting paid, but that's got to be a hard consolation prize to swallow,
Yeah, for sure.
You're almost going to be prominently featured in this movie. Would you like to be a security guard who has one line? I'm like, I guess.
Yeah.
I drove all the way out here.
Yeah, I'll take it.
And Ernie Hudson has, expressed some sort of sour feelings to the fact that he thought he was going to get a bigger role than he ended up getting. There was a lot of backstory to the character that got cut that explained why he was a fit to be in the Ghostbusters. Like he was a demolitions expert in the Air Force or something like that, and then had a background in construction as well as dad owned a construction company.
Yeah, I thought it was weird that he was just like, I just need a job.
I don't think he needs to be in the movie at all.
Yeah.
His character doesn't really make sense anymore. Without it being him being a Ghostbuster, and the whole time he's kind of like, I'm not really a Ghostbuster. He tries to keep his distance from them, and then it doesn't end up coming into play at all. He just is a Ghostbuster fully by the end of it. I don't know. I think it's a weird rewrite. The writing of this movie was pretty strange, though. Well, let me get into that in 1 second. Let me give you your last casting thing, because this also has to do with the writing. Harold Ramis, who plays Egon Spengler, he was brought on to write the movie because of some rewrites that needed to take place. I'll get into that in a second. But that was his original plan, was only to write. He didn't want to be in the movie necessarily. But he decided to play the part when he felt that he was the best person suited for the role, is what the little trivia I read was. Then I saw some of the other people who were considered for the role of Spengler, and I thought, that's pretty impressive of you to say, oh, no, I can do it better than any of these guys. They were considering Christopher Walken, John Lithgow, Christopher Lloyd, and Jeff Goldblum all were considered for the role of Spengler. That's the one I think. I love Harold Ramis, but I probably would have rather seen any one of those people in it,
Yeah.
Again, it's not that it's bad with him or he didn't do a good job. I think he does a great job. He brings a, certain type of characteristic to him, is very dry and everything. But, man, can you imagine it being Jeff Goldblum or John Lithgow, Christopher Lloyd, Christopher Walken? Like, those all would have been amazing choices.
Yep.
And I just think it's nuts to have considered all those people and then go, no, you know what, I'm going to do it. Like, I'm better than any of them at this. I guess those people would have brought a zaniness to the character.
That he didn't want.
Yeah, and I guess it doesn't need that. It really doesn't. He made a decision not to smile at all in this movie. So he never smiles on camera.
Yeah.
In the second one, he does. But in the first one, he's just trying to be straight scientist.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I thought he played it well. I mean,
I did too.
After saying all of those things, I was like, I get that.
Yeah, now that I've said it, I could have liked to have seen that. But just like Robin Williams, it would have just made the movie different.
Yeah. Well, before you get into the writing, almost none of the scenes were filmed as scripted. Mm-hmm. Most of the lines were ad-libbed, especially Bill Murray's lines.
Yeah, you got comedy people. It's best to just let them go.
Yeah.
And that's cool. Ivan Reitman knew what to do with this cast.
Mm-hmm.
He was very, very smart to let him just... And, again, I think Bill Murray has good ad-libs that make sense in the thing, and he doesn't do too much. He just tells a little joke. He has a little bit of a smart-ass remark back or whatever, but it's not like he's, going to be running around picking up props and going, hey, what does this do? Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I think that was a good choice. Initially, Dan Aykroyd was writing the script and had the movie set in the future. And this was going to be a time when Ghostbusters were just a, public service thing. That they were the same as cops and firemen. It was just a thing that we had in our society in the future. Mm-hmm. And that this was going to follow a specific team of Ghostbusters in this future where it's a commonplace activity. And they were going to be busting people constantly, all sorts of ghosts. It was going to be giant kaijus galore. Like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man was going to be one of the first that they faced in a series of these kaiju-type creatures. And Ivan Reitman said, this movie's going to cost $300 million in 1984 money. Basically 10 times the cost that it actually ended up costing them. They said, we have to rewrite this. We got to figure out how to make this not be this insane. So they brought on Harold Ramis to rewrite the script and make it an easier-to-film story. And this is actually a pretty cool little piece of backstory here, that the producers were originally working on a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy movie. That was what they were. Ivan Reitman and the other producers, they were actually working with Douglas Adams at the time, and he was writing scripts. He had written 3 different scripts for this movie at this point. And then Dan Aykroyd sent in the idea for Ghostbusters, and they decided to do that instead. Because actually, they were considering using Dan Aykroyd or Bill Murray as the role of Ford Prefect in their Hitchhiker's Guide movie.
Okay.
So then when they go, hey, look, we just got something else from Dan. Let's just do that instead. Sorry, Doug.
Yeah.
I think it would have been cool to see a Hitchhiker's Guide movie with the same sort of 80s practical effects and all the ingenuity that went into this movie. That would have been pretty neat.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I like the one we got. I think it was...
Me too.
I think it went out the way it was supposed to.
Yeah, it took a long time to get around to it, but I love them. I love this movie and I love Hitchhiker's Guide, so we still got two good things. Well, one more behind-the-scenes thing, I guess. The name Ghostbusters had already been used by a 1975 TV show. And originally they were filming every scene with Ghostbusters and then the alternate title as well, Ghost Breakers. So they would have to film a scene and be like, where are the Ghost Breakers? And they actually even put up the sign on the outside of the building. They had to make a Ghost Breakers sign and put it up as well. And, and then at a certain point they were like, you know what, this is fucking stupid and it's taking too long and it's too expensive. We're just going to go with Ghostbusters and hope for the best. So they just decided to put all their eggs in that basket and hope they could clear the name, which took a lot longer than they were thinking. Frank Price was the head of Columbia Pictures, and he greenlit this film. And then while they were making it, he moved over and started working at Universal. Universal actually owned the rights to that Ghostbusters TV show. So when he showed up there, he just fucking cleared it right away and let them have it.
Dang.
Yeah, really cool of him to do that. Because he was like, oh, that Ghostbusters movie? Yeah, fuck yeah, I remember that, you know. Yeah, let him have the name. And he just let him get away with it. That Ghostbusters TV show from the 70s, though, when this movie came out, they went, we still own that name. They didn't buy the animation rights. So they came out with a cartoon called Ghostbusters that was based on the old the old TV show from the 70s, and had like a gorilla in it and a bunch of, it was like wacky, you know, I don't know, kind of more of a 60s style cartoon. It felt like kind of like Scooby-Doo or something. Mm. And that made a lot of kids really mad when they were excited to watch the Ghostbusters cartoon, and then this bullshit came on the screen. So then the makers of the actual Ghostbusters movie, this one, they came out with a cartoon called The Real Ghostbusters. I think that is so funny, dude.
That's
just
pretty
like,
funny.
Fuck you guys.
Yeah.
You guys are the Ghostbusters. We're the real ones. Now you're the fake ones from now on. You don't.
Yep.
Even though you were first.
You guys
You're
could
the
have done
fake ones.
something, and you didn't.
Harvey Comics, they were the ones who created Casper the Friendly Ghost. They sued the producers because they said the ghost in the logo was too close to Fatso, the chubby ghost from Casper.
Yeah.
And the court ruled against him, stating there were only so many ways to draw a ghost. It's like, thank you,
Yeah.
court. That's a good, yeah. Well, how
Yeah.
else do you want to draw a ghost, man? There's like fucking one thing. He's a sheet. He's a sheet man.
Yeah, exactly. Or the ghost from like Pac-Man. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I
there's
guess,
so
yeah,
many,
they wouldn't
like,
want him to be wildly different. Yeah. Yeah, I thought that. So, yeah, a lot of people just trying to jump on and cash in on this movie's success, essentially. Speaking of which, another thing that was kind of a bit of a intellectual property theft was, I mentioned earlier, the song Ghostbusters would hit number 9 for the year end. It was number 1 for 3 solid weeks in '84. Nominated for an Oscar for Best Song, which lost to I Just Called to Say I Love You. But Huey Lewis sued them over the similarities between the song Ghostbusters and his song New Drug, which is pretty damn similar. You know?
Oh, really?
Yeah. The it's like got the same sort of musical hook. So Huey Lewis sued Ray Parker Jr. and the producers, and he received a settlement. So there was like, you know, at least they said, let's not take this any farther. You get some money. We'll drop the whole thing. Part of the settlement deal was that he was not allowed to talk about it. And in 2004, while on a VH1 Behind the Music, Huey Lewis talked about this whole case. So then Ray Parker Jr. countersued him and got money back because he wasn't supposed to be talking about it. So Ray Parker Jr. still came out on top in the whole thing.
Dang, what the heck? That's crazy.
And the filmmakers later admitted that they gave Ray Parker Jr. New Drug as a temp song. And they said, and they had gone to Huey Lewis first. They approached Huey Lewis to do the movie. He turned them down. So they took New Drug and gave it to Ray Parker Jr. and said, make something like that, but make it about Ghostbusters. So he did. He just took that song and remade it into Ghostbusters, essentially. Got in some trouble, but then it ended up working out for him in the end. And I mean, I don't think Ray Parker Jr. had any other hits or anything like that. So, you know, he got
That's
his
all he
money
had
out
going
of it.
for him.
Yeah, and Huey Lewis and the News, they were doing fine. But yeah, a lot of litigation, a lot of people trying to get money out of different places in this movie. Everyone saw this movie come out and said, hey, wait, me too. You know? How dare you have that idea? It's my idea.
As it goes.
Yeah.
All right, well, so you want to talk about... Oh, wait. We have to rate this movie.
Let's see. What's a good rating system for Ghostbusters? Well, you know, you can go... Slimer's original name in the script was Onionhead. He actually doesn't get called Slimer until like the cartoon, I think. And the like cast and crew affectionately referred to him as John Belushi's ghost, which I think is borderline. It's on the border between insensitive and funny because he eats a lot and stuff. Like I guess that part of his character was based on Belushi in Animal House.
Oh, that's funny.
You know, where he like blows his thing up all over everybody and stuff like that. So, on a scale of 1,984 onion heads, I guess. Should it be John Belushi's?
John Belushi's Ghosts.
Yeah, okay, out of 1984 John Belushi's Ghosts, how much do you give this one?
I'm going to give it 1,795 John Belushi's Ghosts.
Dang, I was going to say 1,800.
Well, it was pretty close.
Right there, yeah. This is one that, it's funny that as I get older, I like this movie more and more. You know? It's one of those ones that I think makes sense to love growing up and stuff like that and all that. But I've seen it a couple times, and every time I watch it, I'm like, man, this movie's great. I really like it, you know?
Yeah.
It's made its way into my heart. Let's see. If we talk about the top 10 movies of the year, you'll see that this was a Halloween-ass year. Because you got Ghostbusters in at number 1, Temple of Doom in at number 2. Number 3 was Gremlins, which is a scary movie. It's Christmas, but it's scary Christmas.
Yeah.
Then the rest of these are all some real 80s-ass movies. You got Police Academy, Footloose, Beverly Hills Cop, Star Trek 3, Terms of Endearment, and Romancing the Stone closing out the top 10. I think it's funny. Romancing the Stone and Temple of Doom are pretty similar. You know, it's a adventuresome guy takes this girl, this blonde woman who has no business being in the jungle, into the jungle to find some sort of treasure. People liked that sort of movie back then.
Speaking of Temple of Doom and Gremlins, actually, the Red Dawn came out this year.
Oh, yeah.
And it was the first PG-13 movie ever rated.
Mm-hmm.
And the PG-13 rating was suggested by Steven Spielberg because people were getting complaints that the Gremlins and the Temple of Doom were too violent.
Yeah.
So that's when they created the PG-13 rating.
I
Red
can
Dawn.
definitely see that. Yeah, I mean, well, it's funny that Red Dawn would get it out of all those because that one I feel like, I guess it makes sense to be PG-13, but Gremlins and Temple of Doom are both wild that those are PG.
Yeah,
You know,
Temple of
those are-
Doom for sure. Oh, I guess they're both. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
Ripping hearts out of chests. I mean, Gremlins
Yeah.
is more shocking than Indiana Jones. There's a lot of really nasty stuff in Gremlins.
yeah,
And plus, they talk about Santa Claus doesn't exist in that movie. You can't show that to kids. you gotta wait till you're 13. The year you stop believing in Santa Claus.
yeah. Pretty much.
If you're me, wait till you're 13. Just kidding. I'm assuming younger. Do you remember when you stopped believing in Santa?
I don't remember.
What about the Great
I feel
Pumpkin?
like I
That's more
always
relevant.
feel like I always knew. You know what I
Really?
mean? It's always in the back of your mind.
Yeah, I guess. A couple comedies that came out. I mentioned Beverly Hills Cop. I rewatched that this week. It's a great movie. Have you seen that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good
I've
one.
seen so many of these movies. A lot of times we'll do these and it's like, I don't think
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of these, but I've seen so many of these movies that came out this year, like organically.
Yeah, 84 comedies. You got Beverly Hills Cop and Police Academy. I've mentioned both of those, but police-based comedies were popular. You also had Revenge of the Nerds and Bachelor Party. Splash, Top Secret, The Woman in Red, but my favorite comedy from 1984, more so than Ghostbusters, is This Is Spinal Tap.
Oh, so good. I love that movie.
Lots of demonic imagery in that one as well.
Yeah.
It's a good,
well,
a good Halloween movie.
yeah.
Stonehenge and everything.
Scary movies too. Did you already say that?
No, I haven't gotten there yet. Those are there are tons of horror movies, which is awesome for Halloween.
Tons of horror movies.
Well, you got I think it's crazy that Friday the 13th, Part 4, the final chapter, as it was called, they would obviously go on to do a lot more, that came out this year, as well as the first installment in the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. So it's crazy that Friday the 13th was so deep into their run when Nightmare on Elm Street was just getting started for them to be very contemporary, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Friday the 13th, I actually have
Hell
that
yeah.
specific. This is the one. It's the final chapter. So it's like I've worn this
Okay.
shirt a couple times, but this is actually from this movie. So I
Hell yeah.
decided to finally wear it. I know I already wore the Spider-Man shirt, but that's on underneath this now. Then we also had Children of the Corn, which I watched this week for pretty much the first time. I'd kind of seen it once at Mitchell's house, but we weren't really paying attention. Pretty boring. But another Stephen King movie, you had Firestarter, starring a young Drew Barrymore. Night of the Comet is a great, fun kind of, what's the word I'm looking for, campy 80s movie. And Dreamscape, I just watched that for the first time as well. It was a great one. I loved all, like, it's actually sort of a mixture of Inception and A Nightmare on Elm Street. Kind of more or less just a ripoff of Nightmare on Elm Street, but it's like instead of somebody comes into your dreams and then torments you, and this guy's like a psychic and he has to try to figure out how to get into the dream world. So a lot of the dream world stuff is super cool and trippy. Also, Chud, I watched that this week, which was honestly, I expected it to be a lot funnier and weirder, but I've been wanting to see that for years and finally watched it. It's Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dwellers is what it stands for, and it stars David Stern, who plays the I don't remember which one, Marv, I think, the tall burglar from Home Alone.
Oh yeah,
and it was decent. I was hoping it'd be funnier, but it was all right. It was actually kind of more of a straight horror movie.
The Toxic Avenger.
Oh, did that come out this year?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that one. I mean, I've seen it before, but I didn't realize that was this year.
Yeah, I've seen it before.
Let me see. Oh, last couple things. This one actually, sci-fi movies. The first Terminator came out. I always maintain the first Terminator's kind of more of a horror movie than anything. Like, he's this unstoppable killing machine. Like, the first thing you see him do is punch right into somebody's stomach and, like, pull his hand out all bloody, you know?
Yeah.
I rewatched that this week. It was good. The Dune from the 80s came out.
I've seen that before.
Oh, is it good?
Mm-hmm. It is good.
I want to watch that.
Weird CGI.
Also, Starman came out this year. I mentioned that earlier, the one with Jeff Bridges. That was Columbia's E.T. Alternate or whatever. You got The Last Starfighter, Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock, and The Brother from Another Planet, all in the sci-fi world. For the kiddos, you got The Muppets Take Manhattan, as well as The Never-Ending Story, which I've actually never seen The Never-Ending Story.
I've seen it a bunch of times. It was a popular movie in my household.
I've seen bits and pieces of it, but just never the whole thing for some reason. It's so cool, though. I gotta watch it. It's one that I try to find a couple. You know, every once in a while I'll look it up, and it just isn't playing on streaming. You know.
One movie that came out this year that I don't think I've ever finished it. We had it on VHS. Was Once Upon a Time in America.
Oh yeah, I had that on the top.
But it is 3 hours and 49 minutes long.
Leaf.
I don't think I've ever finished it. I've tried. I've sat down a few times to watch it because we had it as growing up, and I never finished it, I don't think.
Oh, another long one that's really good is Amadeus. I love that movie.
Never seen that one.
It's great. It's about Amadeus, but also Salieri, I think his name is. He's like his rival, and the whole time he's just hates Mozart for being like this genius, but kind of an asshole and kind of a immature little dude. And he's like, he doesn't deserve all the success, so it drives him crazy. It's really good, though. Last thing I'll say on the subject of movies is that the Video Recordings Act of 1984 was a big thing in the UK that kind of established what's known as video nasties, is what they call them, which is so funny. It's 70 films.
Like porn?
No, it was just like essentially things like horror movies that were deemed too violent and too disgusting to be showing people. And there's 72 films that were in total that were like put onto this list. 39 of them were prosecuted as like violating laws by being so gnarly. And 10 of them still remain banned to this day.
Damn.
Yeah. And I
What
mean,
were
they're just
people
movies.
doing?
I've seen a couple of them. They're not that bad.
Oh.
It's just that everyone was so up in arms back then of, you know, again, the Satanic Panic, all that kind of stuff. Like, it was just this, people were so afraid of movies that it's so funny. They call it video nasties, you know?
That's funny, dude. That's crazy.
I'm trying to figure out which one of these have I seen. Oh, The Burning. I've seen The Burning. That movie's kind of funny. Cannibal Holocaust. That's one that a lot of people talk about being really nasty because there is like some, they're filming real tribes, and so there's like some on-screen animal violence, like they chop up a tortoise that's alive and stuff like that. But it's like stuff that they did for real, so it was just people really filming it. But it was kind of nasty to show on video. You also got like Faces of Death, which is one that, you know, shows some real stuff. So like there's some of these were bad. But also like The Last House on the Left and I Spit on Your Grave, just movies that were deemed being too bad. So yeah, I mean there's a lot. Like I said, I've seen a handful of these. They're they're movies. I mean, I've seen
They're
nastier
movies.
stuff, you know?
Yeah, well,
I mean, there's Human
nowadays,
Centipede and shit like that, so, you know.
Yeah, I would say nowadays I don't think they wouldn't have that.
No, the ones that show real death on camera, I can see why you would get rid of those, but like just most of them just being like, this is so shocking. We can't show people. How dare you? You're going to jail. Like, whoa, what the fuck? I don't know if there's actually jail time, but they're like fines and stuff like that for people breaking these rules of obscenity. So there you go. Halloween of 1984 was they were trying to make it less scary. They're like, this is just too damn frightening, you know? There's too much going on. This was we chose this year because Ghostbusters was number 1, and it ended up being a very strong Halloween year.
Yeah, it did. They didn't even have to go looking for stuff.
No, yeah. I mean, the Satanic Panic right there. You got all of this, these people worried about the movies and some real murders going on that are involved in that stuff. So I think the last thing we have to do now, we have to get out of here. I don't want to be in 1984 anymore. We need to try to figure out how to summon Timeless Tony. And the only way that this disembodied voice is going to give us a chance to leave 1984 is if we can decide what was the scariest thing to happen this year.
Like individually, or we have to come up to it?
No, we both just like normal.
Oh, okay.
But just instead of our favorite thing or scariest thing.
Scariest thing. I did not. You go. I didn't even think about this.
Jeez. You know what? I got to go with the video nasty act because I think censorship is the most frightening thing of all.
All right, I'm going to say the scariest thing, because it's still going on today, is the search for the extraterrestrial intelligence.
That's a good one.
Because it's spooky, and it probably freaks me out more than most scary movies does in reality.
Yeah. That's a good... Oh, you know what I forgot to mention and bring it back was they mentioned that in Starman, that's where the guy worked for, like the main guy from the government who was trying to hunt him down. He said he worked for SETI, I think is how he pronounced it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's a good one. I mean, the idea that, the powers that be are taking it seriously enough that, like, they're granting it non-profit status,
Yeah.
This is like, we're taking it seriously. There might really be some shit out there.
Yeah.
I don't know. They might have found something. It's been going for a while. They could have easily found something and been hiding it from us.
Very easily. So, yeah, that's, in my opinion, the scariest thing this year.
Good choices. Well, let's see if we... I don't know if it worked or not. We're just... we got to wait till next week to find out. I don't want people to know what it sounds like when we travel through time.
It's gross. You guys don't want to hear that.
You don't. It's embarrassing as fuck.
Bad Foley.
But we are... Yeah, I just got I got a text. My phone's working again. So I think we did. Yeah, we're gonna. It's just been like a paperweight this whole year, but we are. I got a text from Timeless Tony. He's on his way. Cool. All right. So it looks like we are getting out of here. Thank God. We did it. I don't know which one of us chose the right answer. We'll find out, I guess. But one of these two things was the scariest thing, I guess, according to that demonic voice from the beginning.
It's pretty terrifying,
it was
actually.
The Video Nasties Act of 1984. Censorship is the scariest thing of all. All right, everybody. We hope you have a happy Halloween. Thank you for spending your holiday with us, if you're listening on the actual day.
Happy Halloween and happy 1984, everybody.
Happy Halloween. Let's sing the Halloween song. Happy Halloween. Nice people turn mean. Things that were regular colors are now green. Happy Halloween, everybody. Good night, people.